What is up, my glue-soaked ghouls? It's Chris with Tabletops and Tentacles, here with another look at Bones 5 core set. For the first couple of videos, we kind of went through some of the more standard ones, but I saved these guys all for one single video because they're all sort of Halloween-y horror related, and that's one of my favorite things. So here we are with most of the horror-based and or Halloween characters from Bones 5 core set Kickstarter rewards. So first up, we have the Beholder in iBeast pumpkin form, and obviously this guy is a complete delight. It was a little tricky to put together. I had to actually look at the image on the box. I do like how there's the rotting pumpkins at the bottom as well as the larger full-size pumpkins that are a little healthier and jack-o'-lanterny at the top. I do kind of think that its eye is kind of sadly plain. I wish that there was a little more to it than just the plain globe, but I am really looking forward to painting this here fella. Next up we have the giant jack-o'-lantern scarecrow scythe beast, who I think is really cool, but I do have to question who made his gigantic boots. They're like the size of a rowboat for a standard mini, but again, will be very fun to paint. This is probably my favorite, the Scarecrow. It's just very classic. It's got a nice, like, horror kick to it. It's got the pumpkins along the base on it. It's just a really nicely sculpted Scarecrow that will work for many uses. Next up, we have the Zombie Collection. There are 4 of these, and I do really like that these zombies are... well, they're sort of traditional zombies, but they're also clearly like townsfolk medieval era zombies. But I like that they are subtle enough for the most part that if you really wanted to, you could paint them in a neutral color scheme to match either a modern setting or a medieval setting. But honestly, it's kind of nice to have the medieval zombies going on anyway. They're almost pilgrim-esque with their outfits, which I think is kind of interesting. The poses are all great. These guys were pretty easy to assemble. It's just an arm and a head now and then. That said, I do have a rug in my studio that is the exact same color as this guy's head, and the squares on it are the exact same size, and boy did I lose his head for about 20 minutes. They look really great together, obviously. I would play Thriller here, but I don't want to get shut down by YouTube, but you can't go wrong with dancing zombies. Here's the Dire Cabbage, which I think is just absolutely hilarious, and I love it. I'm working on a Morkberg Muppet-inspired supplement right now, and this guy is right out of that type of world that I'm playing with, so I love it, love it, love it. Next up, we've got the Pumpkin Knight, who has a coffin shield and a very bendy sword. I think it's actually supposed to be slightly bent, but maybe not quite that dramatically bent. But he's really fun. I think the detail in his armor is excellent, and he's going to be a lot of fun to paint. This is my wife's favorite character, the witch with the tentacles and the books and the cat, and it's just a very classic sculpt. And I don't think there was anything to glue on this piece either, which is always nice. It's really, really fun little sculpt, though. Classic Grim Reaper, also one of my favorites. I think that this particular character looks so good. He's got the skulls on the base, and the hourglass, and just the classic Reaper scythe. And the detail in his chest and face in particular are really good. Next up, we've got the 5 Grave Kings, and they all look really good. I actually love that each of these has a slightly different look to them. Like, this guy's kind of just classic infantry type king. This is what you 100% picture when you hear the term Grave King, with the ghoulish open mouth and the big sword and the crown. He's really great. I love that character. But they each have a very distinct look while still fitting the theme, which I really dig. Like, this guy's floating slightly with this really great flow to his cloak. He's holding a staff with a cross at the top. Very cool looking and completely different from the other one, which I think is just such a great touch. And then this guy's got these cool little pointy shoes that I had a hard time gluing because his legs were spread further than they were supposed to be. But I really like him too. He has a little more of a desert look to him, perhaps, and I think these guys are really fun. And then the last one has more of a Viking kick to him. And again, the sculpt on their cloaks is just so great. It's got just the right amount of aging, a little bit of texture, and a great flow to them. And finally, we have another witch from the Halloween part that they released, and she had some really great detail to her. I had a really hard time getting her arm to stay on. I think I was gluing it at the wrong angle on it, but I really like the broom attached to the back with a little bit of paraphernalia and a lantern hanging off of it. I think that's a really cool effect. And her boned corset's also very cool. And that brings us to the end of our horror-themed minis from the Bones 5 core set. Next up, we'll be looking at some of the bigger ones, I think. Or maybe we'll do magic. I haven't decided yet because I haven't filmed it. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit like and subscribe. If you'd like to support the channel, we have a Kickstarter live for another 2 days for issue 3 of Tabletops and Tentacles, and you can find links to that below, or you can always support us on Patreon at patreon.com/deeplydapper. Thanks again for watching, and may you live in interesting times.